Hello,
Happy
Tom.
Friday.
Happy. Well, it's Thursday. Don't get me
Thursday,
started.
not Friday. I was
It
gonna
is
say,
2021, though. Yay, we know that.
yeah. Well, I mean, the days all run together when we're quarantining and being at home and everything. But anyway, so let
Exactly.
me start over. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy.
Tom Leahy with OptoMed, and
Amanda Team here. So, Tom, we're going to get right into it because we're talking about something today that I feel super passionate about. So, just we're going to take kind of a very realistic approach when it comes to student loans, student loan debt, financial aid. Now, let me preface all of this by saying that Tom is a registered investment advisor, and I think that's one of the most important aspects of Optimum Ed is because financial aid, student loans, it becomes such a crucial part of this whole process. So to have a registered investment advisor that has had years of experience is just such a great service, right, Tom?
yeah, I mean, and I want to be clear that while I maintain those credentials, I do not actively manage anybody's money or buy stocks and bonds or anything like that. I maintain those financial credentials because I think it's important that our clients understand the experience and expertise that we bring to the table. Having been in that business for over 20 some years, but more importantly, the fiduciary responsibility that credential provides for our clients. I have a fiduciary responsibility to them. And when we start talking about financial aid and maybe affecting need-based eligibility, suggesting that we do different things with their financial circumstance, you're being a financial advisor. And while there is no oversight when it comes to financial aid consulting, I mean, really, you have to be careful who you talk to and what you do, because just because you can affect your need-based eligibility, perhaps by doing so, you could have impact in another part of your financial life, like taxes or something like that. So it's really important to be talking to somebody who understands how all these things work together.
Absolutely. So, having said that, I'm just going to put some information out to kind of set the table for where we're going to go today. So, this information is from Forbes magazine, February of 2020. The average student loan payment right now, or at least back in February 2020, was $393 a month. That's the average student loan payment. Uh, 3 million student loan borrowers have loan debt greater than $100,000. So let's think about that for a second. A student goes a 4-year degree, they come out, they have $100,000 in debt. Income is, $30,000. Plus, they have to live on that. So you have to be really realistic when you're choosing a major and taking loans and figuring out the financial piece of it. 12 million student borrowers are in loan deferment, loan forbearance, and loan default. And that was from last February. So you can imagine it's probably even more now. And I just think that students and parents need to be super smart about the debt they go into, the major in college, and what is going to be the end result, right? So there are college majors out there that are not sought out by employers. There's no growth. The economy is not generating enough of those jobs. It's not a sustainable future, Tom. So I
Yeah.
think it's such an important piece, right?
Well, and it all comes back to prior planning, and we have, when you look at our performance in terms of our college, uh, experiment, because that's what it is in a lot of cases. We're only, uh, you know, just over 50% of students are actually walking away finally with a degree, even if it takes, 6 or 7 years. So we've got people who start in college, spend a year or two, and then never finish. But what has happened in those that 1 or 2 years? They've created debt.
Mhm.
They have student debt that they've left with. And where are they working? Who knows? Probably minimum wage. Are they able to service that debt? No, um, probably not. So they go into forbearance or whatever. And we have to we can also look at this whole debt thing from from the side of the taxpayer too. We're the ones that are loaning this money to these kids to go off to school to do something totally impractical or unproductive. And so we really all have to get involved in understanding that to really make this whole thing more positive and more productive, we've got to think about the direction that we're headed ahead of time.
Mhm.
We've got to do that before we start investing that money.
Absolutely. So, if you are someone who is going to live on a trust fund, sure, go to college, major in whatever you want. If you're someone who's going to work for your family business, maybe, it doesn't matter as much as someone who's going to come out of college and have to get a job. There was a mom that I talked to just the other day. Her son graduated, got a job interview, went to the interview, and the interviewee said, "Okay, so what is your skill? What can you do?" And so he said, "What do you mean? I just graduated from college. Well, what can you do? What is your skill set?" And he said, "Well, I took all these classes. I finished. Okay, that's great for you to finish. And I hope you had a great time. But what are you qualified to do? What is your skill? What are you going to bring to employers?" And you have to think about all of this before and just kind of map it out. And then that is what Optimum Ed is fantastic at, is
Right.
let's take who you are as a person, what your interests are, and let's map out a future. And by the way, let's not go $100,000 in debt to do that.
Right, and exactly. So, and it's about what are we trying, direction, and what are we trying to accomplish, and how can we get there efficiently? And I think that just makes sense for most families today with the cost of education. If we're going to end up working in management even, in position, even at Macy's, that does not require a college degree. However, that college education will hold you in good stead when it comes to actually being hired, being retained, being promoted. So there's value in a college education, but do we have to spend $200,000 for that educational leverage if that's our job path? No, we don't. We can accomplish the same thing online through University of Phoenix or whatever. So
Mhm.
it's about planning. Where are we headed? What does that look like, and how do we translate that into an academic path that's both going to increase our potential for success, but also to be efficient in terms of the money we're spending toward that end.
Absolutely. So I think the bottom line is, let's not wing it. Let's have a plan. Let's not go spend 2 years of college tuition and go into debt to figure it out. Let's figure it out now. So call us, call Optimum Ed. Let's talk more about it, because this is something that I think really affects a lot of people for a long period of time financially. There are a lot of people now that are putting off buying homes and putting off getting married and having families and all those wonderful things that you can do in life because they're strapped by this debt. And it doesn't have to be that way, Tom. So
Yeah,
that's, I think one of
and that's yeah, you're right, Amanda, and that's why our philosophy is a practical one. Our approach is a holistic one. It is about the job and potential career, that being the end game to this whole thing, not the degree, not that piece of paper, but it's the job and potential career that effort on the part of the student and the money on the part of the parent are going to deliver to help launch that that young person successfully into life. I mean, you think about failure, and for a young person who goes off to college and drops out for whatever reason, academic or
Financial.
funding or whatever it might be,
Mhm.
it's hard to recover from that damaged self-esteem and self-confidence. So let's not put our children in a position to fail. Let's make sure we do the things right up front to increase and greatly increase the chances of their success and
Well, the
understand
other
how that works.
The other thing I'll tell you, Tom, and I think that OptimaMed is really good at, like you said, let's be realistic here. So parents, this is for you. If you have a student that wants to major in something that you don't think is going to produce a job, then we're happy to tell them for you, and it will be good for everybody. Let
Yeah,
us
well,
let us be the buffer. Let us be the deliverer of the bad news. But then again, on the other side of that, let's figure out options. Let's figure out a path. Let's figure out, the right things before we make mistakes. Does that make sense?
it makes sense to me. I mean, that's what we do every day. I mean, it's about understanding the direction. We do that through our assessment process. We spend a lot of time there figuring out what should you be when you grow up, because the rest is just planning backwards.
Absolutely. And I think that you just said it perfectly. Let's figure it out and then plan it backwards.
Yeah, and
So,
if y'all want to find out more, our website, optimumedcenter.com, or you can call our office, 804-417-4807. Love to talk to you. It doesn't cost anything to chat.
absolutely.
Y'all have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.